Hi everyone, the King David Museum. Artists gather to paint in Jerusalem, renovating shelters in Sderot, and a special belated bar mitzvah. You're watching Israeli Salad. Shalom and welcome to Israeli Salad. Tell me, who's your grandfather? Who's your great-grandfather? Who's your great-grandfather's great-grandfather? Wouldn't it be interesting to find out that you're actually a descendant of King David? Well, a new and unique museum in the Old City of Jerusalem focuses on the legacy and dynasty of King David.
David Melech Yisrael, Chai Chai V'Kayom. David Melech Yisrael, Chai V'Kayom.
A new museum has opened in the Old City of Jerusalem, the King David Museum.
The museum is about King David, his life, his reign, for all of the descendants of King David, and for people all around the world to learn about what King David, who King David was, what his life was about, what his reign was about, what his descendants are doing now, gathering together to reestablish the Malchut Beit David, the Davidic dynasty. The museum is an outgrowth of the Davidic dynasty.
We're trying to enlighten people in the period of King David, who was the first king of Israel to unite the Jewish people into one nation. And we've brought different things from that period to profess the unity on the one hand of the Jewish people, all of us, and on the other hand to show the continuity that we have both to the Davidic kingdom and to the land of Israel. We have the ceramic section from the time of the first temple, which is at the time of King David. We have things from the second temple period, including coins, arrowheads. We have a full collection of Tehillim from the first printed Tehillim in 1511, and on through the ages. We also have a whole section on original printings of books on the Temple Mount, which start back in 1696, and we follow them through up until modern times.
The museum is also a genealogy center with graphs, lists, and a computer database to help visitors find out if they are descendants of King David.
The genealogy center is going to help people find out if they are descendants, or confirm for them that they are descendants. If people want to know if they are descendants, they can see their names and the names of descendants here.
We have a lot of people who come in from all over the world, and they feel that they're just a Jew from out in Wichita, Kansas, and they come through here and they see they're part of a entire Jewish nation, entire people, and they feel a connection to the entire Jewish nation and not just feel as a single Jew out someplace far away.
This museum is about King David, for King David, and I feel King David is here with us.
Susan Roth, founder of the Eshet Chayil Foundation and the Davidic Dynasty Project, is herself a descendant of King David through Rashi, the Luria family, the Baal Shem Tov, and his great-grandson, Rabbi Nachman of Breslov. And so the inauguration of this historic museum is a powerful event for her.
This is David HaMelech to Rashi, and the descendants of Rabbi Nachman of Breslov and Shneur Zalman of Ladi Breslov, and Chabad put this together for me. And here I am. It's Rabbi Shlomo ben Yitzchak Rashi was the 36th great-grandfather of Zisel Yocheved, Susan Joy Roth. And you have the entire list of all the tzaddikim. It's very exciting, and I feel very elated and very proud that we were able to open this museum and genealogy center in Yerushalayim for all of Yerushalayim, for all of Israel, and for the world.
So what if one visits the museum and finds out that he is part of the dynasty? What next?
First of all, he or she, I hope, will realize that they are part of a family. For the first time in 3,000 years, they'll realize that they have other relatives. And we'd like the family of King David to finally come together for the first time in 3,000 years, to reunite the family. The Jewish people have been praying for 3,000 years that the Malchut Beit David would one day reunite. And I believe that now is the time for the Malchut Beit David to reunite.
I think that it's definitely very fulfilling to know that you're from royalty. So I can imagine that people will be excited about that.
The Malchut Beit David has a special role in helping the Jewish nation understand that they are not just Israelis, they are Jews. And to understand what King David did, what he wanted the Jewish people, first of all, to unite as one nation.
Rabbi Israel Ariel, head of the Temple Institute, explains that even if you're not genealogically part of the family, in essence you are.
Everyone should feel as a continuation of our ancestors' ways. Any Jew can have the spark of the Mashiach's light. There's a phrase in the army. Every soldier is holding the chief of staff's baton. Every Jew must feel as if he's holding the baton of the Mashiach, promoting what needs to be promoted in our generation. Here we see an attempt to focus on King David, his mission, and his role as the founder of the Kingdom of Israel in Jerusalem, and we want to be part of this.
In these days, there is great significance of the establishment of a museum, especially a museum like this one, in the heart of Jerusalem.
Everyone will see in this museum, they'll find out that King David actually bought the Temple Mount and paid for it with 50 pieces of gold. It was a threshing floor, so that nobody took the Temple Mount. It was bought and paid for, just as the Marat HaMachpelah was bought and paid for. And then he prepared it for his son Shlomo HaMelech to build the temple.
As you visit the center, you will feel the King David atmosphere immediately, as the employees that greet you are dressed in traditional biblical garments.
In the last few parashot that we've been reading in the book of Shemot and the book of Exodus, we find that we have a dress code for the Kohanim, especially written in the pursuit of the text, but we keep that tradition. What we say is Mimei Kerem, just like it was in the past, so it is in the present. And so the ketonets and the basic headdress and the abnet, it's a very continuable clothing for the area, the minhag of Yerushalayim and the Masort of all of Yehuda.
The external clothing is connected to the internal. There was a 4,000-year tradition of the Jewish people in terms of clothing. Any Jew can dress like this. It's simple and it makes you feel Jewish.
So next time you're on your way towards the Western Wall, stop by at the King David Museum and Genealogy Center. Learn about the history, investigate your origins, and see how King David's legacy is as relevant today as it was 3,000 years ago.
And I am a Jerusalemite for many years. Before Jerusalem was occupied by the Jordanians and taken back by our people, I never saw this kind of an institution. For me, it was a huge surprise. And this is something very interesting and very fascinating.
King David, as I say, is the first king to unite the Jewish people from tribes into a nation. And he became a leader and one of the undisputed leaders of the Jewish people. And his legacy lives on till today. And we only can hope we'd have the merit to have a king like King David today.
I know that if my great-grandfather, King David, were here today with us, he would say that this is a holy land that was given to the Jewish people by Hashem. And I pronounce thee the King David Museum and Genealogical Center, David Melech Israel, Chai Vekayam. Woo!
David Melech Israel, Israel, Chai v'Kayam. Sing man, God. Oh, Mazal Tov. Sing it, Mazal Tov. David Melech Israel, Chai v'Kayam. David Melech Israel, Chai v'Kayam. David Melech Israel, Chai v'Kayam. David Melech Israel, Chai v'Kayam.
On my way into the old city, I noticed an artist sitting and painting the breathtaking view of the old city walls and the Jerusalem scenery. And then I saw another artist, and another, and so on. I took out the camera and learned about a special artistic project bringing artists to the capital.
"120 artists from all over Israel were brought together by the Jerusalem municipality to paint Jerusalem, in honor of Jerusalem.
I'm drawing the walls. For me, Jerusalem's the center of the world. That's what I feel when I come here. It's very pleasant to work out here like this. This opportunity is a great gift for me. Now is exactly the time when you can paint. It sometimes gets so hot that you can't even go out, and so we're very fortunate to have this opportunity now.
The artists were situated in numerous locations in the city, here near Jaffa Gate and in the Nachlaot, Armon HaNatziv, and Nachlat Shiva neighborhoods.
רוב העבודות אני עושה גם בצילומים, לוקחת צילומים שלה, גם ספרים.
Most of my paintings I create with the use of photographs and historical books about Jerusalem. But to have this opportunity to paint here, as well as meet other artists in this atmosphere, that's fun and very special. It's all thanks to the organizers.
זה מאוד כיף ותודה רבה לכולם, מישהו שעשה את זה.
Some of the artists decided to focus on the historical walls of the old city of Jerusalem, while others decided not to disregard the modern-day cars and buses that pass by here throughout the day of painting.
I want to give the feeling that it's not the old city it used to be. I draw the cars and everything to give a feeling that it's a renewed city.
The artwork will be presented as an exhibition in the new Mamila Outdoor Mall near Jaffa Gate, and later will be moved to the Jerusalem Theater. The artists feel that this project has connected them even more to the eternal capital of Israel.
An ancient city and a new city. It's not a simple city. It's a city that went through a lot. It's not always peaceful here. This gives to my soul and lets me give to Jerusalem. I love Jerusalem very much. I've created many paintings of Jerusalem.
The southern city of Sderot is still unfortunately in the headlines. The bombardment of the city is continuing, and so far nothing serious has been done to end this situation. However, the barrage of chesed, of kindness, is continuing as well. We joined an activity initiated by the Jewish Agency.
Dozens of counselors from the Jewish Agency's Neta program gathered in Sderot to renovate the shelters scattered throughout the city. IDF soldiers and members of other social projects in the south joined the counselors.
Today we came to volunteer. From the morning we are painting these cement places where people hide when there is a Qassam alert. The regional manager here, Hanan, and the city manager launched this project. They called all of the Neta trainers from all of Israel, and we volunteered and came over to paint them. So there will be a little bit spots of color in the city. That's what we do.
The Neta program is carried out by the Jewish Agency in cooperation with the Tapuach organization, the United Israel Appeal, and Cisco. The program is aimed at teaching high-tech studies to youth on Israel's periphery.
Neta is a program that operates in all of Israel in 23 localities. We teach the future high-tech generation from the periphery of Israel, and we operate in Sderot in the past 5 years.
The program's counselors decided teaching is not enough, and they organized a day of volunteering to improve, even if only a little, the lives of the other residents of Sderot. We met a volunteer who came to Sderot directly from the Ben Gurion airport.
Well, I came straight from the airport to Sderot to help and to watch the netted kids contribute to what's going on, to tell the people in Sderot that they care. So painting the walls of the shelters is a way of doing that. Well, I think the whole world knows about Sderot and the pressures and the things that the kids especially are going through, and we support it. And there's not many things that we can outwardly do. So when we have a chance to come here and help paint, help do anything, that becomes very important.
A bar mitzvah is a very important event in the life of a Jewish boy. At the age of 13, he becomes part of the nation, begins to be obligated to perform all the precepts, the mitzvot, and is now considered a man. In Israel, like all over the world, there are many young children who, for many reasons, cannot celebrate their bar mitzvahs. In Ruby's case, the kind and understanding people that helped him rebuild his life after he reached the streets at around the age of 12 decided that better late than never, and a fully equipped bar mitzvah celebration was organized a few years after Ruby turned 13.
No, this is not a Purim celebration, it's a bar mitzvah. But the young man you see isn't 13. He is in his 20s. Confused? Well, here's the story. Ruby was adopted as a boy by the Chaimovich family in the Warm Home in Bat Ain, a home created in memory of Eyal and Yael Sorek, who were murdered in Karnei Tzur 5 years ago. The Warm Home helps youth in crisis. After a difficult childhood, Ruby followed a long road to his rehabilitation.
זה מאוד מרגש בשבילנו היום הזה, כי זה איזושהי סגירת מעגל עם רובי.
This is very exciting for me. I feel that we have come full circle with Ruby, whom we have been with since he was 14, and we have experienced some difficult times together. This is something that he always talked about, but he never got to have a bar mitzvah. And now here he is, celebrating. And although it's not a bar mitzvah, it is something he's experiencing in a healthy, strong way. It is a joy for us. He is like a son to us, truly.
וחווה אותו ממקום חזק ובריא, וזה שמחה בשבילנו, כמו בן שלנו ממש.
I run the Warm Home for Children and Youth in Crisis. We give these kids everything, from a home and food through a bar mitzvah, to education, studies, preparation for military service, and we want things to be good. These are our fruit. This is our youth, the future of the people of Israel. Michael is not just a warm home. He's a warm man. Everyone who comes near him feels the sparks immediately. I got some of the sparks too. That's why we are here. We try to help Warm Home as much as possible. When I got to know Ruby, I realized that he was like the mercury we use in explosives. He can explode, but if channeled properly, he can achieve great things. I have high hopes for this young man.
The event was made possible by the Besheva newspaper and other good-hearted volunteers and donors. It took place in Jerusalem's Diplomat Hotel, with music from the Nitzotzot band, with singers, photographers, and even the students of the Bnei Tzvi Yeshiva in Beit El, who showed up just to make everyone happy.
רובי הוא ילד שמעודד הרבה ותומך הרבה.
Ruby is a kid who cheers you up and supports you. He is full of life and joy. He cheers you up. He has a lot of aspirations, and I hope he fulfills them. I just want to say thank you very much to the people who made this event. You deserve a lot of respect.
Mazel tov. That's all for this week's Israeli Salad. Soul Tuning will be aired this week as well as a separate program. Tomorrow, be sure to watch Soul Tuning with cantor Yechezkel Klang. Here's a taste of his music. Cantor Yechezkel Klang. Okay, that wraps up this edition of Israeli Salad. Join us again next time. Until then, shalom from all of us here at Arutz Sheva, Israel National TV.